The seasonal cycle of any garden will involve pruning and the removal of plants that are ready for renewal. And they're way too valuable a resource to just throw away. The decomposition of prunings and spent plant material are a source of carbon and nutrients to benefit your garden by reintroducing them to the soil as compost. Composting's part of my life routine, and I've got a couple of methods on the go to make the most of any organic matter that comes from either the garden or the kitchen. Now, kitchen scraps are the most regular type of organic matter that we generate in our household. So, all of this goes into the cold compost. Kitchen scraps are usually full of moisture and rich in nitrogen, so it's a good idea to balance that with a layer of fine, dry brown organic material that is high in carbon, like these wood shavings, or dry leaves, or even old toilet rolls, or paper, which I use to line my scraps bucket. Microbes will break down the dry material as part of the decomposition process, but it also provides structure to the pile, which is important for aeration. Now, air is important so it doesn't become anaerobic or sour, because when it does, it produces stinky gases like methane and hydrogen sulfide. What you want to do is keep the pile nice and sweet. So if it becomes a bit sour and smelly, start by giving a light sprinkle of ordinary garden lime, and then give the pile a bit of a forking to open it up to get the air in so it remains aerobic. I like to do this every few weeks to keep the pile healthy, and it really helps to break things down. Having 2 compost bins on the go works well for our household. As one gets filled up, the compost from the second is ready to go and can be emptied. I find these large, open-bottom compost bins work well because when they're partially buried by about 100 millimetres, and when the lid's on, it keeps out rodents and other pests that might otherwise go for the kitchen scraps. Now, when it comes to position, underneath a deciduous tree like this Nashi pear is perfect because in summer, when there's leaves, it keeps them nice and cool. And in winter, when the leaves drop, the sun comes in, warms up the bins and keeps the microbes working. Cold compost is relatively low maintenance and easy to manage, but you'll need to be patient as it may take up to 6 months before it's ready to use. Something that cold compost won't do is kill off weed seeds and plant diseases like powdery mildew. To do that, you need to make hot compost. Now, this is a totally different method in that you need to get all of your materials that you want to compost together and put it on as a single batch. And also get that pile big enough, at least a cubic metre, so that it gets nice and hot, retains its heat, and gives things a good cooking. I like to make my hot compost in bays like this, which is made from a frame of salvaged steel, some steel sheeting, and then timber, including timber panels at the front, which keeps things nice and contained and tidy. Then it's just a matter of putting the right ingredients together. I've already made a good start building this pile with layers of chopped up, fresh leafy garden material, which is high in nitrogen, as well as dry prunings, which are high in carbon. I'm going to continue building it up in layers roughly 50 to 100 millimetres thick. This is a layer of chopped up, dry broad bean stems. Then a sprinkle of pelletised poultry manure and some water. Then some more green leafy prunings. Then some soiled straw from the rabbit hutch. Then more pelletised manure. And more water. And on it goes. The main thing to remember is to use roughly 2/3 fresh green material to 1/3 dry material, and add manure for extra nitrogen and water to kick things off. I find 2 bays works well for making hot compost. The first bay that's filled with a batch that's cooking away like I've just shown you here, and the second bay can be used to store mature compost. Now, this is ready to go out onto the garden. Look how beautiful it is. And once that's empty, I'll be able to turn this pile, which would have heated and cooled, over into the empty bay, and in doing that, give it a second cooking. And I'll add some extra moisture and manure and chop fine greens as it's needed to get that mix just right. And that'll get it hot again and give it a second chance at making sure we've killed off all the weed seeds and plant pathogens. It's as easy as that. So there's the lowdown on hot versus cold compost. Choose one which is right for you and your garden. Or like me, do both. Composting is a way of harnessing the circle of life, really, because even when plants are dead, they can still contribute to new life and the vitality of soil.